No Man's Sky is a game that lets you explore an infinite universe of planets and lifeforms. But what if you want to play it on a Mac? In this video, I will show you how to install and run No Man's Sky on Mac using Parallels Desktop or Boot Camp. Parallels Desktop is a software that allows you to run Windows and other operating systems on your Mac without rebooting. It works on both Intel and Apple M-series chips. You can download Parallels Desktop from their website and install it on your Mac. Then you can either download and install Windows 11 from Parallels Desktop, or use your existing Boot Camp partition if you have one. To run No Man's Sky on Parallels Desktop, you need to launch the software and select Windows as your operating system. Then you need to open the Microsoft Store app and sign in with your Microsoft account. You can then search for No Man's Sky and download it to your virtual machine. Once the download is complete, you can launch the game and enjoy it on your Mac. Alternatively, you can use Boot Camp to run No Man's Sky on Mac. Boot Camp is a utility that lets you create a partition on your Mac hard drive and install Windows on it. You can then choose to boot into either Mac OS or Windows when you start your Mac. Boot Camp works only on Intel-based Macs. To use Boot Camp, you need to have a Windows 10 or 11 ISO file and a USB flash drive with at least 16 GB of space. You also need to back up your Mac data before proceeding. You can then open the Boot Camp Assistant app from the Utilities folder and follow the instructions to create a Windows partition and install Windows on it. After the installation is done, you need to restart your Mac and hold the Option key to select Windows as your startup disk. To run No Man's Sky on Boot Camp, you need to open the Microsoft Store app and sign in with your Microsoft account. You can then search for No Man's Sky and download it to your Windows partition. Once the download is complete, you can launch the game and enjoy it on your Mac. Both Parallels Desktop and Boot Camp have their advantages and disadvantages. Parallels Desktop lets you switch between Mac OS and Windows easily, but it may affect your Mac performance and battery life. Boot Camp gives you better performance and graphics, but it requires more disk space and rebooting. You can choose the option that suits your needs best. That's how you can install and run No Man's Sky on Mac using Parallels Desktop or Boot Camp. I hope this video was helpful and informative. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more videos like this. Thanks for watching. In this section, I will compare the graphics, performance, and gameplay of No Man's Sky on Mac versus Windows or other platforms. No Man's Sky is a sci-fi game that lets you explore a vast procedurally generated galaxy full of planets, aliens, spaceships, and mysteries. It was released in 2016 for Windows and PlayStation 4, and later for Xbox One and VR devices. But it was only in June 2023 that it finally launched on Mac via Steam. No Man's Sky on Mac has been built from the ground up with a new rendering pipeline to take full advantage of Metal and Apple's Silicon. Metal is Apple's graphics API that allows developers to access the GPU power of Macs more efficiently and effectively. Apple Silicon is the name for the custom chips that Apple uses in its Macs, such as the M1 and M2 series. These chips combine the CPU, GPU, RAM, and other components into a single chip, which improves performance, power efficiency, and compatibility. According to Hello Games, the developer of No Man's Sky, the game runs on any Mac with Apple Silicon, from the desktop lineup, including Mac Mini, iMac, and Mac Studio, to Apple's powerful Mac laptops, MacBook Air and MacBook Pro. It also runs on select Intel-based Macs with a Core i5 processor, minimum specs, Intel i5-based Mac with 8GB RAM and Radeon Pro 570X 4GB graphics card, 20GB storage. The game supports cross-play on Mac, allowing players to join the millions of existing players on Xbox One, Xbox Series S/X, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, PC, and even VR. It also supports cross-save between PC and Mac, allowing players to jump from a PC to a Mac laptop, or from a Mac Mini to Mac Studio. So how does No Man's Sky on Mac compare to other platforms in terms of graphics, performance, and gameplay? Let's find out. Graphics. No Man's Sky is a visually stunning game that features colorful planets, vibrant flora and fauna, dynamic weather effects, realistic lighting and shadows, and detailed textures. The game uses a stylized art style that blends realism and fantasy. On Mac, the game can achieve console-quality graphics thanks to Metal 3 support. Metal 3 is the latest version of Apple's graphics API that was introduced at WWDC, and it enables features such as ray tracing, variable rate shading, mesh shaders and sampler feedback that enhance the realism and immersion of games. Metal FX upscaling is another technology that helps No Man's Sky on Mac deliver high-quality graphics while maintaining battery life on laptops and lower-end devices. Metal FX upscaling is a technique that renders the game at a lower resolution and then upscales it to a higher resolution using machine learning algorithms. This reduces the GPU workload and improves performance without sacrificing image quality. Performance. No Man's Sky is a demanding game that requires a lot of processing power to generate its infinite galaxy. On Mac, the game benefits from the fast loading times using the internal SSD. SSD stands for solid-state drive, which is a type of storage device that uses flash memory instead of spinning disks. SSDs are much faster than traditional hard drives, which means they can load data more quickly and reduce loading screens. On Macs with Apple Silicon, the game also takes advantage of the Unified Memory Architecture (UMA) that allows the CPU and GPU to share the same RAM. This eliminates the need for copying data between different memory pools and improves performance and efficiency. Gameplay. No Man's Sky is a game that offers a lot of freedom and variety to its players. You can explore planets, mine resources, craft items, trade with aliens, fight pirates, upgrade your ship and suit, discover secrets, complete missions and more. The game has received many updates since its launch that have added new features and content such as base building, multiplayer modes, vehicles, pets, expeditions and more. On Mac, the game includes all content updates from the past 7 years. This means you can enjoy the same gameplay experience as other platforms without missing out on anything. The game also supports various input methods such as keyboard and mouse, gamepad and even VR controllers. You can customize your controls according to your preference and comfort. Conclusion. No Man's Sky on Mac is an impressive port that showcases the potential of gaming on Apple hardware. It delivers console-quality graphics with Metal 3 support and Metal FX upscaling. It offers fast loading times with SSD storage and unified memory architecture. It provides cross-play and cross-save functionality with other platforms. And it includes all content updates from the past 7 years for a rich gameplay experience. If you are looking for a sci-fi game that lets you explore a vast galaxy full of wonders on your Mac, you should definitely check out No Man's Sky. An evaluation of the pros and cons of playing No Man's Sky on Mac in terms of cost, compatibility, and user experience. No Man's Sky is a sci-fi game that lets you explore a vast procedurally generated galaxy full of planets, aliens, spaceships and mysteries. It was first released in 2016 for PC and PlayStation 4, and has since received many updates and expansions that added new features and content. In June 2023, No Man's Sky finally launched on Mac via Steam, making it one of the few games that can take advantage of Apple's Metal 3 and Metal FX technologies. But how does it compare to playing it on other platforms? What are the pros and cons of playing No Man's Sky on Mac in terms of cost, compatibility, and user experience? Let's start with the cost. If you already own No Man's Sky on Steam, you can access it on Mac for free. That means you don't have to buy the game twice if you want to switch between PC and Mac. And if you don't own it yet, you can buy it for $59.99 on Steam or wait for it to come to the Mac App Store soon. Compared to other platforms, this is a reasonable price for a game that offers hundreds of hours of gameplay and regular updates. Next, let's talk about compatibility. No Man's Sky on Mac supports cross-save and cross-play with PC and other consoles. That means you can continue your progress from any device and join your friends online regardless of what they are playing on. This is a great feature for Mac gamers who often feel left out of multiplayer games or have to use third-party software to play with others. No Man's Sky also runs on any Mac with Apple Silicon, such as the Mac Mini, iMac, Mac Studio, MacBook Air and MacBook Pro. It also works on some Intel-based Macs with a Core i5 processor or higher. However, you will need at least 8 GB of RAM, a Radeon Pro 570X 4GB graphics card and 20 GB of storage space to run it smoothly. If your Mac doesn't meet these requirements, you might experience lag, crashes or graphical glitches. Finally, let's discuss user experience. No Man's Sky on Mac has been built from the ground up with a new rendering pipeline to take full advantage of Metal and Apple Silicon. This means it can achieve console-quality graphics while maintaining battery life on laptops and lower-end devices. It also benefits from fast loading times using the Mac internal SSD and MetalFX upscaling that improves performance across the full range of Macs. The game also supports keyboard and mouse controls as well as gamepads for different playstyles. The only downside is that No Man's Sky does not support VR on Mac yet, so if you want to immerse yourself in the virtual world, you will have to use another platform. In conclusion, playing No Man's Sky on Mac has many advantages in terms of cost, compatibility, and user experience. It is a great option for Mac gamers who want to enjoy a rich and expansive sci-fi adventure with cross-save and cross-play features. However, it also has some limitations in terms of hardware requirements and VR support. If you are interested in trying out No Man's Sky on Mac, you can get it now on Steam or wait for it to come to the Mac App Store soon.